Hello, welcome to another Getting Projects Done. Let me kill that. With me, your host, Chris. I'm continuing work on my Gundam. Not much has changed since the last video. Pretty much, it's looking like just the way I've been going through this workflow is that I have been working on this pretty much per video. So not much will change per episode. So unless, of course, I get really ambitious. But just the way I've been filming other projects and such, I just, it's a matter. And I mean, like, I'm sure there's a bunch of you out there who are probably following along or, I don't know, just sitting back and enjoying these videos as I just kind of work away on stuff. And, I guess really also the other thing is that possibly how I encounter each situation and how I deal with, interesting little areas. I know, like, when I get to the shins, that's going to be an interesting bit of cleaning to do there, as there's some interesting little spots on it that where the seam line runs, and it's going to be just a little bit of a pain to deal with. So, yeah. So we have the 2 feet. Now, you might remember from the last episode, the 2 feet were gave them. You can kind of see there. I just hit them with some filler, just really fast, just kind of slapped it on there, get that gap. And so now I'm going to get to the sanding of that. Also, this ankle bit here, if you can kind of see, hasn't been cleaned yet, whereas this one, I got this one nice and smooth. Mostly smooth. It's mostly smooth. But yeah, we're going to get back to work, and we're just going to continue on. Sorry, I got crap and tools all over the place here from other projects here. Some blood for the blood god. Patreon members already know what the hell I'm talking about there because they already saw that video. So, but anywho, we are going to get to work. I'm going to turn this off there for a moment until I start to see anybody kind of commenting and such. Usually takes a little while for anybody to start, rolling in for each episode kind of thing. It's kind of funny, but either way. So here I'm just grabbing this little sanding stick. I've got a pretty coarse one on here. I can't remember what the hell I was doing with this last. So let's try and clear out some of the bits. I can't remember what the hell I was. This is also a good way of softening up a toothbrush as well, because I've got a few toothbrushes on the go, and this is actually a really great way for anybody who's doing airbrushing or uses a toothbrush as part of their tools. Yeah, this is actually a good way of getting the toothbrush softer. It basically just abrates the ends of the fibers, and it just gives you an all-round finer texture on there. Ooh, it's soft. It's soft, and it's not from brushing teeth either. I mean, I brush my teeth, but also another thing is that the other getting projects done is the Walker Bulldog that I've been working on, the 1/48 scale, and I picked up some Tamiya paints. Now I picked up semi-gloss black, which is going to be used on the wheels. I'm not too huge on the semi-gloss, but they didn't have flat black. But I was like, screw it. I'll just pick up the semi-gloss. If it's really, really glossy, I'll just hit it with a matte, knock it down a bit, right? So I'm not too concerned with that. I also picked up some metal. This is gunmetal. Is this gunmetal? Yeah, this is gunmetal. So I know we're going to use some gunmetal on it. If I need some lighter metals, I might pick up another lighter metal. And then I picked up NATO green, which is a really nice army green. Right, this is pretty much, I think, the same color as the model. I think. Let me see here. Let me grab the model since he's sitting right here. And this kit too, it hasn't changed much either. But yeah, the NATO green is a little bit deeper color, but it's close. I think there might be actually another color that's probably closer to this color plastic. I don't know. I might have to go back and check, but. Yeah, and then so I picked up this lighter one here just to mix into this green for if I want to do like highlights, or if I want to do like any kind of water streaks, you know, when we get to the weathering of it. So, yeah. I'm thinking ahead. I'm planning ahead here. I'm trying to stay at least a step ahead of myself, as it were. So, I had considered working on the Bulldog for today, but I said, no, let's continue on with the Gundam. I know it's not terribly exciting getting all the sanding done, but hopefully some of you out there are actually, you know, enjoying this, or, you know, some of you are just kind of sitting there and painting along or what have you. So I'm using the sanding here because I'm not going to blade this, because I just don't want to run the risk of actually pulling off more material than necessary. Whereas if I sand down to the surface, I should be good. And because this sanding block that I'm using is a pretty high grit, it's going to take off a lot of this material. Now it's going to really scratch up this surface here, the rest of the surface, but I can take care of that afterwards with my finer grit sanding. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to sand this foot for an hour. Hope you guys don't mind. Yeah, that's coming off really nicely. And that's really the trick with doing like all these seam lines, doing models, and, you know, just taking your time, clear off that debris, because as I previously mentioned, that when you do that, you can end up getting some of that that stuff that you're pulling, the material you're pulling off, and it can end up, you know, causing great gouges on the surface. And just got to be mindful of it, is all. Probably will help us with our sanding of that surface as well. Got to be careful too when you are sanding surfaces like that and that have other details elevated, to not, you know, sand too aggressively, because then you can end up knocking these details down. So, yeah, it's just stuff to be mindful of. See, as I get closer to this detail, I probably should switch to the sanding stick. But this does have flex to it. You can see it flexes, so I can work it into little nooks and crannies if I want to. Nooks and crannies. What exactly is a cranny? Anyway, what is a cranny? I don't know. Might remember from the last episode, I was talking about, you know, doing the slurry. I have not gotten around to making any of that yet, so that is still in the air. I do want to give that a try, because going about this process, especially if I have any other pieces that, you know, are going to require this much seam line correcting, I kind of want to, you know, to do it in a bit more of an efficient fashion. It's all about efficiencies, right? I'm just switching angles here because I don't end up hitting other details and such. Oh, we're getting down to the plastic now. Yeah, I'm sanding it just because I did not want to like just blade that surface off. I did not want to pull off any excess material and then, you know, actually kind of like pull some of the stuff that I'm using in the seam line with it. I just didn't want to go that route. So that's all. Let's use this stick here. We got schmutz in here. There we go. Oh, that's a little angle there. See, like this little spot here. We'll sand this down while we're at it. Yeah, this seam line, like it almost seemed like this seam line was deliberate. Like it's supposed to be there. But I don't think it is. I'm willing to wager it ain't. Also got some in that little groove right there. Let's see if we can pull that out. Yep. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about here, where you just pull at one end. It's kind of like, when you're pulling at paint kind of thing. Yeah. There we go. There. I know it's terribly exciting stuff. Sanding. I don't know, maybe some of you enjoy the sound. Is that what it is? Some of you just enjoy the sound of the sandpaper moving on the surface? Are you that much of a weirdo? Getting there. You can kind of see how it's just a little bit of that outer edge. I'm scared to blade it because I don't want to, again, like I said, I don't want to blade and pull that off. Little sandy sticks get clogged. See how they get really clogged with material in there? Yeah, I am definitely gonna have to grab up some slurry. This process is kind of annoying. It's kind of time consuming, and I'm getting to the point now where I really want to just get some paint on this guy, Kevin Cabal, I'm totally am that much of a weirdo. Yeah, I know. Different strokes for different folks, right? I hear you. Just gotta get kind of close to this detail here. I don't want to hit that little detail there, so I'm just gotta be careful. Just keep sanding this down. Make it all nice and smooth. Smooth. What was it? Smooth as a monkey's bottom. Which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Almost there. I'm tempted just to blade that little section there. It's actually not too bad, considering that I was using this really coarse one here, and then I was using the most coarse stick I have. But it's not bad. Let's start up here again. Get some more of this material off. Yeah, see, there's like little details in here where the seam line runs in. I'm gonna have to blade that smooth as best I can. Hopefully that's a small enough detail that I don't really care about how, how that looks for the moment. But we'll see. We will see.
What you doing?
I'm streaming right now. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
What's up?
I want to say hi.
Hi.
Can I not say hi to my father?
No, you totally can say hi to your father. In fact, I fully encourage it, honey. I fully encourage it. please. Grim, did you hear about some apes or monkeys taking over the government buildings in India? It's not a joke. Howdy there. No, I didn't hear about that. No. I actually, for the most part, do not pay too much attention to, sensational news or, I mean, I'm sure that that's a very serious thing going on, but yeah, no, I didn't hear about monkeys taking over the government. It's kind of funny. I am gonna blade this. I'm gonna blade this. Well, I'm gonna not listen to myself, and I'm just gonna blade this off, just to pull some of this excess material off here. And did I completely F myself? I might have. I just might have. I'm kind of holding my breath as I do it because I'm waiting to see a big chunk of something come out. So, but so far nothing. You can kind of see where I bladed it. Still see it's a little uneven up here, but there's still quite a bit of material right there. Going across the seam line, so that's to plane it kind of smooth, right? And that mostly works for me. I'd like to get this side of the detail here, but getting my blade into that position is kind of tricky. The other tool I considered picking up as well is it's a little like scraping tool for doing panel lines, especially if I'm going to pick up more Gundam kits. Not if, but when. And yeah, I was thinking about that. All right, I am mostly happy with that. See, the seam line's pretty much disappeared now. So let's just take it down to a nice smooth surface. Grim, I don't pay much attention to it either. I was merely told about it because family thought it was funny. Well, yeah, I mean, like, from a comedic standpoint, sure, right? It's hilarious. It's like, because you can make any number of jokes from that, right? I mean, monkeys took over the parliament, and it's like, well, they were already there. And I mean, like you can make any kind of political joke you want, monkeys taking over, because everybody feels that way, with their governments, right? Typically, anyway. All right. I am mostly happy with that. Mostly. Just a little bit more sanding. As I look into the light, I can kind of see where the putty was and where I was sanding, and it feels like where the putty was, almost like a mask, and it masked the area off. So I kind of feel like I should try and sand that middle down a bit more, just so that there isn't an unevenness on that surface, because it's supposed to be, metals, and it's all, even, right? Straight edges, as it were. Oof. Lots of dust. Yes, there's something going on right here. I gotta pull this up to my face here so I can see what the hell I'm doing here. Oh, I see what that is. Okay. Gotta be careful when you're blading these kind of things, especially in like this soft styrene plastic. Tendency is to always end up going a little bit overboard. This do the trick? No. I need one of my nail files. Metal files, I should say. I was about to say, holy hell, where's my metal files? But I got them. Use this little brown one right here. Probably hardly ever see me use these things, right? There's a bit of unevenness here. I just want to make this a little bit smoother. I'm sure once this gets paint, it'll probably be fine. But yeah, it's this side, it's slightly grittier. Going in with my really fine abrasive here, or sandpaper, just to smooth out this surface. We're not too concerned about smoothing out to the point where it's, you know, you can see your reflection or anything like that, but, you know. Mainly I'm just using it just so that I can get rid of any of those abrasion marks from the other higher grits, right? It's basically the only reason I'm doing it. Because of how much I'm handling the part, I'm feeling like I'm probably going to have to give this like a bit of an oil bath. Well, not oil bath, you know, rubbing alcohol, for God's sakes. Yeah, see, my sanding was a little aggressive here, and I hit the red part of this plastic here. I wonder if I can just clean that, just the blading, just the blade. Remember that time I was kind of curious about if I can clean this edge with a blade? I was right. The only thing is, though, you got to be really careful. Go really slowly along that edge and just blade that surface. Yeah. There we go. And again, once we throw primer and stuff on this, that should just disappear. Yeah, just so there's no abrasion marks on that edge. Of course, too, once I throw paint on this, it'll probably tell me whether or not I've really messed things up. I can still feel something there. Could be just gunk. too. Bad, Chris. Bad. See little nubs that I didn't get before. See, when I was assembling it, I was in such a hurry. I was like, oh, I want to get this all, assembled and ready. And then I started thinking about how I was going to actually paint it. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should spend the time to do this properly. And once you throw some primer on this, you'll be able to see whether or not, if you really messed it up. Try to match these angles. See a lot of material on the surface there. It's just because the sticks are full of debris from the other sanding. The putty I was using there. Fire Drake 18. Sup, peoples? Sup, Fire Drake. One thing I've seen another modeler do, it's another fella I watch on YouTube. He does a lot of scale models and such. And after he's sanded and gap filled and stuff like that, especially on styrene plastic kits, he'll actually use, where's my glue? He'll use the plastic cement and hit it just really fast. And just to let it, open up the surface, melt it a little bit, and create some uniformity. I thought that was a very interesting technique. Because you can see that abrasion mark, right? But I mean, I see it now, and it stands out to me. But, once this gets primer, that should just disappear. But for me and my OCD, that kind of looks, kind of really apparent. But anyway. Oh, we got putty on the backside here too. I didn't realize I did the backside. I didn't think I did that. No, I did. Huh. What do you know? What was I thinking last week? Grim, nothing much. Just repainting the red on my engine sear model. Actually, you know what? Here, let's turn the chat on. Just for when you guys are talking to each other. There we go. Knocking that down pretty far. Just using the big broad end of it. Just trying to be mindful of how I'm moving this so I don't hit this red area. Ooh, almost there. Fire Drake 18 should be painting my amble. I still would like to pick one of those up. Are you talking about for, was it Blackstone Fortress or Necromunda, the mechanical ones? I like to pick one up, the mechanical ones from Necromunda. The Blackstone Fortress one is cool too. I still kind of hem and haw whether or not I want to pick up Blackstone Fortress. Oh, it's the Blackstone one? Yeah. Yeah, that one's cool. I like that model. It's pretty cool. I kind of like I think what I really like about the Blackstone Fortress models that have been coming out is that they're different from everything else from, from Games Workshop as far as like the other model ranges. Still being kind of within the realm of Warhammer 40k, but they're just a little bit different, And so they're just interesting pieces. And I'm sure the people who get to work on it are probably having a ball with it as well, right? So especially when they get to bust out, old concepts like the Amble. I'm going to bleed that part there. Go. There's this little box inside the foot. Let's see if I can get the angle so you guys can kind of see that. There's like a little rectangular indentation in there, and it's going to be a tricky one to get to. That is, see, that's pretty smooth there, but you can kind of see the little rectangular portion in there. What I need, and I used to do this back in the day, I don't really recommend it. What I used to do is, like with some of these really fresh or even the old X-Acto blades, I used to snap the very tip off so I'd get like a 90-degree bend, but it'd be just narrow enough to fit inside some spaces. I don't really recommend that because you obviously have a little shard of metal, razor shard flying around, so I don't really recommend that. But with some of these parts here, I really don't know how I'm going to get in there to clean off some of these seam lines. Like that back piece. There's a piece up in the front up here on the ankle connector. Oh, that's still bugging me right there. It's bugging me. Getting bugged. There, not as bugged. Anyway. Yeah, I like using the, the model putty to fill that seam line in was fine and all, but I definitely am leaning towards getting that slurry made and doing it that way. That just seems to be a bit more, I don't know, Dare I say efficient? Yeah, I want to get in there. I don't think the X-Acto blade's got the... No, I don't know. We'll give it a try here. I'll try it with just my X-Acto blade. Yeah, I don't really... It's doing a trick, but... I wonder how good my mic is if that picked that up. my son swearing at his game. I don't know. Did anybody hear that? He's playing the newest Call of Duty. He's swearing at the TV. I told him to get off because I was streaming. Did he listen? No. I said, you might get lag. No. And I'm streaming at, my usual rate, so I'm doing pretty good. What's that? Okay, that was just debris. Yeah, see, I'm not entirely happy with that, but such a tiny little detail. And I'm not doing this for any kind of competition or anything like that. I'm not, it's not like I'm doing this to a display stand. Well, it's kind of display standard, but I don't think anybody who looks at this is going to nitpick on every little facet if I miss something, right? I hope not. Fire Drinking Teen, I really like the sculpts from Blackstone Fortress. I was hoping they would do Lost and Damned Traitor Guard with those models. Yeah, the cultists look really good. I would have assumed that those cultist models they did, I would assume that those are going to get repackaged and sold as, cultists for 40K, I would assume. I don't know, it still might happen. Grim, I didn't hear anything other than your talking and scratching. Okay. Fire Drinking, I will. Every little defect, yeah. just come over and just criticize every little thing. Like, see here, I'm like, I don't have to do this little detail, but I'm doing it, right? Because this connects up into the leg. So why am I even cleaning that? Don't even know. It's compulsion. But see, like this, there's a rounded face here. Yeah, you can see the seam line. If I can get that on the camera. Just so you can see how it's kind of high point. So we'll do that. Clean off my blade. This little bit over here. Yes. This is kind of annoying here, this little bit. That's not too bad. Once I start cleaning it off kind of aggressively, it disappears. Yeah, that's not too bad. Just a quick little sanding and it should just go right away. Go away. Dang Gundam kits in their complex little angles and stuff. Let's try to do this way. Okay, we got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. Yeah, there you can kind of see the mold line's been knocked down. Now, nice little sanding, and we should be fine. A couple of points there, I can kind of see where my freaking My X-Acto blade kind of skipped on the surface. It's also kind of a dome shape here, so I gotta change angle a bit as we sand. That's gonna be a pain. Get right in there. Get in there real deep like. Yeah, I like these little sanding sticks. Highly recommend them to anybody who is serious about their model building. I'm not sure how many of you out there go to these lengths to clean your parts, but some of you, this just might be right up your alley. When I was a younger guy, I really did not spend this much time. I was too impatient, right? I was young. Whereas nowadays, I'm older, and this is just, relaxing pretty much. It's relaxing time. Playing with my toys and relaxing. There's a little bit right there I want to get. Get 'em. Yeah. Winning. Alright, let's clear this off. Yeah. Might have to toss these sticks soon, though. Knocking all sorts of crap around. Wonder, just for giggles, let's grab a cotton tip, a cotton swab. Do I have any water here? I've got a little bit of this alcohol. It's got a little bit of paint in it, but I'm not too worried about that. Let's see here. What was the part I was talking? Oh, I was talking about this part here. Let's wipe that away. So picture that's the dust. Yeah. It's the dust that's kind of throwing my eye on these surfaces. I'm going to have to change sticks here. Yeah, the abrasions are still there, but it's not quite as bad looking. Let's see here. Switch ends. You can see the Q-tip's kind of dirty. Yeah, we're gonna have to switch sanding sticks. There's a lot of that modeling putty is in my sanding stick, so it's contaminating my surfaces. Like this one here, like Jesus, there's barely any sand. Like it looks like this. That's from the freaking dust, but no, that's the grit is worn away. It's smooth right there. But this side's still good. We'll use that side. But this stick is mostly done, yeah. You can see it's quite a bit. It's clogged with putty. Fire Drake 18, Chris, did you ever check out the models to that Storm Thunder Kickstarter? No, I didn't. I ended up backing Tier 2. I saw the models and said, I must paint that. Yeah, I mean, like I had recently done fresh tips on Sky Tier. And you know, like the I also did, what was it? This, what the hell is this game? What the hell is this game? I can't remember what the hell this game is. I did a bit of painting tutorial on these models. I also did it on Sky Tier. I did that, the Yami. Really nice sculpts. But I don't know, the plastic, like it's not. It's core space. Yes, thank you, Frederick. It's not the same as working with, say, like styrene plastic. Styrene plastic, it just can hold an edge better than a lot of these, because these are more like, I don't want to say resin because it's not a resin. I mean, it could be. I'm not sure exactly what this plastic is, but I find that when they have mold lines and you start clearing off mold lines, it's like stringy. It's almost like fiberglass almost. You know, have you ever worked with fiberglass? You know, when you pull off edges and you get these long fibers? That's what it's like. I'm not saying these are made of fiberglass. I'm just saying that it acts like, similar. And I find that doing these little, board game pieces, cleaning them and painting them, it's kind of fun. But I don't know, like these models, like they look good, but they have soft edges. Styrene plastic kits have much better, cleaner, sharper edges. I mean, like just looking at, say, like this guy here in his collar, there's a you can see a good proper 90-degree angle on that corner, right? You get these proper little spiky nobules, and styrene plastic. I mean, if you can do styrene plastic, all the better. But no, I have not checked out that Kickstarter. I glanced at the link. It's another fantasy game. And I've mentioned it before. Fantasy games, I mean, fantasy universe like Lord of the Rings, I'm not an immediate sell, right? Sci-fi is more my jam. All right. So, gotta figure which one is the better grit or finer grit. There it is. Should excuse the end here. The little front face here is still kind of bugging me. Oh, that's what it is, because there's these little lines that come down. they supposed to come down like that? No, I think that's from the molding process. I don't think those are actually supposed to be... Frick, I can't tell. How are you supposed to tell what's a panel line and what's a mold line? That's why I kind of want to get, a seam line tool. So I can, if need be, re-etch seam lines, right? Or mold lines. Not mold lines, frick. The panel lines, for God's sakes. Yeah, that's what it was. That was throwing my eye off on that space. So now, when I sand this face, it should look even. And I just said I was going to switch these damn sanders, and I didn't. Yeah, that looks better now. Now I kind of killed the angle that was here. There's a slight angle between these two pieces here. See if I can reduplicate that angle. Yeah, there we go. Oh my God. How much time can be spent on just sanding and cleaning up these edges, moving panel lines? Anyway. Time for a sip of coffee. Where am I here? I think I missed a comment way back when here. Fire Drinking, I think I know what you mean. I think that was the main issue when I told you that the paint didn't flow correctly for me. Yeah. Besides the models, I like the fact that it's like choose your own adventure type deal where you can make choices and your actions determine the path, and you could lose heroes or gain new allies, or allies may become villains. Cool. The one board game I'd love to play, but I don't know if I can find enough hardcore nerds to do it with, is Dune. I'd love to play Dune. Fire Drinking. Anyway, I never played the board game like that, and it intrigued me. Cool. Well, I mean the concept, right? I mean, unfortunately, they can only sell you the concept, and whether or not it lives up to the concept, or what you're imagining that game's going to be like, and once you sit down, read the rules and get into it, you know what I mean? Like, it's does it live up to the expectation, right? Unfortunately, that's a hard one. Grim, with how little red on the metal is left, I've decided that it is blood of his foes. On my engines here, that is. So. Alright, so I think I'm done dicking around with this foot. It is as clean, I think, as I'm going to get it. Even got inside that little space all in there. Did the back. And the thing is like this kit, they said this is like an easy one to get into. I'm like, holy cramoles. An easy one. Because this is 148, and like almost all the pieces on this kit were like two halves. They just put two parts together and put it together, right? Alright, so I think I'm going to sand this front foot a little bit, and then I think I'm going to blade a large portion of that material off before sanding it. I think. But first, I'm going to do this front part here. You still see that seam line right there. I guess we can blade it first. Try to get most of the base here. Just to make up my own music now. I need music when I do this. Normally, whenever I'm hobbying, I'm doing music. I don't do podcasts. I don't do audiobooks. I just like music. I like distraction-free environment. Allows my brain to concentrate on what it is I'm doing. Like even now, as I'm working on this, I'm more thinking about whether or not I'm staying in frame, or, you know, this is interesting or whatever, right? And I'm not really concentrating on the task at hand. This one's pretty darn good for just flattening off that surface. You can see there. Okay. Pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. Let's switch to our finer grit. Just smooth this surface out, just so that, you know, we don't get any of those ugly scratch marks. Oh yeah, already that's nice and smooth. I like that. I like a nice smooth surface to work with. Everybody's out there like, oh no, Chris is getting weird again. I'm always weird. That's what I do. And yeah, you can see there the seam lines are all disappeared. You can see those little dimples there. That's the little channels where the bit connects up. You can see. So if I sand that down any further, I just don't want to risk hitting that, or, you know, going too far. So let's grab our finer stick here. What side are we at here? It's this side. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. I like that when you can't even feel even the hint of a seam line there. That's nice. That is nice. Fire Drake 18, the company that did the Fire Drake, The company did something smart. They have the rules posted for free and sent out prototypes to a lot of people. There are a few playthroughs of the demo campaign. I like what I saw. Cool. Yeah. I mean, if it's your jam, I mean, it's your jam. You know, don't take my word for it. I'm not even that familiar with it, so, you know. But like I said, I kind of looked at it and was, you know, it's high fantasy type stuff and, you know, cool, but, you know, it's not the first place I go, you know, when I'm looking for escapism. You know what I mean? Watching Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, you know, Beastmaster. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the first place I go. Fire Drake 18, crank some tunes, throw some Thundercat on kickback and relax and hobby. What? Throw on some Thundercat. Is there a band called Thundercat? I'm not familiar. I'm kind of curious what type of music you like. I assume death metal. Death metal? You know what? No, actually, I'm not really into a lot of death metal. I mean, like I used to have like Bolt Thrower, you know, Cannibal Corpse, stuff like that. Death Angel. Death Angel was actually a good one. No, like my death metal phase. I mean, like you know, you start venturing out from say like Slayer and started getting into like death metal. That's basically where the evolution was. I was into rock metal, Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, that stuff, and then I started traveling into Slayer and you know more Metallica stuff, and you know what I mean. Like and it was death metal, and you know, and then I mean my music interests are wide and varied. I don't have, you know, I don't have a fixed genre of music that I only listen to. I listen to a whole wide range of stuff. Everything from like classical to, you know, industrial, you know. Although my son just turned me on this morning to trap metal because they were talking about, he was showing me the video of, for the new Doom game, how they got a whole bunch of lead singers from heavy metal bands to do a choir in their soundtrack, and I thought that was really cool. And you can hear it, and it's like, and the Doom soundtrack, it's gonna be awesome. And so I'm excited for that, and that's the kind of thing I can listen to. But I also been listening to a lot of like trance and you know, all sorts of stuff. The only stuff that I don't listen to is country. I avoid country. But I mean, I'll listen to folk or even bluegrass. You know, I'll listen to you know Johnny Cash. I have Johnny Cash in my playlists, right? But Johnny Cash isn't country. People tell me he's country. He's not country. Johnny Cash ain't country. But you know, oh, and jazz. I don't listen to a lot of jazz. What else is there? But just about everything. Well, I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop or anything like that. I don't listen to a lot of pop. So, you know, like I hear a song and my kids will tell me, you know, that's this person. They're huge. And I'm like, never heard of them. It's not a him, it's a her. Oh, never heard of her. You know, it's like, I have no idea, you know. So, you know. Fire Drake 18. Thundercat is great. Is a great bass player. Pretty smooth R&B, neo soul vibe. Neo soul. Okay, neo soul. See, that's a genre I've not heard of. Neo soul. I'm familiar with soul because I listen to like Stevie Wonder, man. Stevie Wonder. I can listen to Stevie Wonder all day long. You know, I can listen to a lot of Motown stuff. See, like a lot of my music interests, obviously, you know, were obviously influenced by our parents, right? My father listened to a lot of rock and, you know, stuff like that. He was, you know, big into like Aerosmith and, you know, 70s rock, right? You know, and he also listened to a lot of folk as well. He listened to a lot of Bob Dylan, Gordon Lightfoot, there's a couple other ones. Whereas my mother, she was a lot of Motown, a lot of pop, a lot of soul, R&B, you know, and yeah, you know, So I have an ear for all sorts of stuff. I even personally like classical music. I like orchestral scores from like movies that I've watched, and just all sorts of stuff. Again, but I don't listen to country, and I don't really listen to a lot of pop. I'm familiar with some pop, but I'm not into it. But it's not like the first place I go. And country is probably the last place I go. If I'm going to listen to any country, which in my entire life have I ever even made a statement like that, where I'm going to listen to country, so no. Fire Trick 18. I'm not sure what trap metal is, LOL. Yeah, trap metal? Yeah, I was turned on. What is it? Oh, frick. What's his name? Hold on. An artist that I was just tuned into today. I'd not heard of him. The World I Knew. Just do a quick YouTube on that. The World I Knew, and the song, which is pretty decent, is called Peaceful, but it's peace, like a piece of something. Peaceful. Check that out. Give it a listen. Let me know what you think. You hate it, love it, whatever. I mean, because I know some people are going to go, this is garbage. Some people are going to, wow, this is the greatest thing I've heard since, whatever, right? So, I know, many varying tastes, right? Fire Trick 18, you can't listen to because of copyright on the stream? Right, yeah. YouTube and Twitch, I've seen some people listening to music, and I'm not sure how they're doing it. Because I know that the viewers can also, help out picking songs on the playlist or playing, songs and, stuff like that, right? And it sounds like fun, but I really hate especially for some of you jokers, a song to come on that's really freaking annoying, and then everybody wants to, and then keep, hitting play and, playing this annoying song. So that's the only thing I just want to avoid. Fire Drake 18. I live in Music City, so I listen to a lot of different music as well. Which Music City? Detroit? Tennessee? Memphis? I lived in Memphis for a while. Yeah. Right, Nashville. Sorry, yes, Nashville. Nashville. Pardon me. Yeah. No, I breezed through Nashville a few times on my way to Memphis. But yeah. So you're in Nashville, really? Fire Drake? I thought you were... I just assume a lot of you guys are from the UK. I thought Fire Drake, I thought you were in the UK. Shows how well I know the Monkees, right? I mean, there's only a few that I know really well, Grimm being one. I've met Grimm face to face, and I played with Grimm, and I like to think that I know Grimm pretty well enough. I mean, it's not like we're on the phone late at night with the hair curlers in our hair and we're talking about boys or something like that, but I'm just saying we're not girlfriend like friends, right? But I think I know him pretty darn good. Well enough. Not pretty good. Anyway. Grim, I have a buddy up there. Nice place to visit. Yeah, I've only ever breezed through Nashville. I stopped there for, what was it? Boston Market? I think we stopped at a Boston Market somewhere. And my brother-in-law had come with us one time. And, this one fella was talking to him. He's taking his order. And my brother-in-law does not have an ear for accents. And yeah, my brother-in-law was totally annoyed because he could not understand this fella. And yeah, he was just, what? He's like, you want fries with that? He's, what? Like, he didn't understand. So my brother-in-law didn't enjoy the South at all. I enjoyed the South. I love the South. But when I was living in Tennessee, that was great. Mississippi was fun. Went in Arkansas. Been to Georgia. Yeah, I like the South. Fire Dragon Team, if you ever come through, I might treat you to a meal. Oh, just a meal? Not a drink either? Just a meal. Here's some rice. All right, back to work. Enough goofing around. So, time to take down this big old chunk of putty. I think I'll give it a quick sanding. Yeah, I think I'll give it a quick sanding, and then I might blade it. Again, I'm still kind of worried that I'll pull some of that putty out. So, yeah. Grim, that's a kind offer. Thanks. Much obliged. I'm gonna clear out some of this debris out of the sanding stick here. See all the dust coming off. Oh, I can taste it. Good God. Maybe that's why I'm getting dry. Oh, I can't wait till spring, when the heat comes back around here, so I can open up my freaking window. I think too, the next thing on my equipment list for my little studio space here. That's why it's so freaking dusty around here. I was like, why is it so dusty in here? It's because this crap. Anyway, I'm thinking about setting up an airbrush booth right here, so that I can so that I can kind of dual film, right here. But I can also put the air right out because I got the window right here, right. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of an airbrush booth because I don't have one right now. I just try and contain as much of, and I haven't been spraying actually any toxic materials, but that's why, because because once I start farting around with the Tamiya stuff, because I need to run alcohol and the Tamiya thinner through my airbrush. Well, even if I start getting to this, when I get to the painting of this, good God. Yeah, because I'm going to be using lacquers on this kit. So, yeah. I just realized that. I'm going to need my airbrush because I can't airbrush here on this space because I've got all sorts of other materials and there's nothing to contain the overspray. Good God. Anyway, let's get back to work. Enough belly aching. Yeah, Memphis was a nice town. I enjoyed my time in Memphis. People in the South were so nice, polite. Like even up here in Canada, you know how Canada kind of has this identity of being really polite? No, the South was really polite. Here in Canada, you can walk down the street and pass by somebody and not even say hello, good day, whatever, right? And nobody will think twice about that kind of thing. Whereas in the South, I found anyway that you pass by somebody on the sidewalk and say, oh, good day, that kind of thing, right? And it's perfectly normal, and they'll say, oh, good day to you. And I pass by so many people, of many different variety, and they'll stop and tell you their life story, and you're just interacting with people and just saying, hey, how's it going, and just very friendly. It was nice. I enjoyed my time in Memphis. Fire Jerky Teen, we had a tornado come through Tuesday. Trump was here today. It added to the devastation. Fire Jerky Teen, I heard in Canada you keep your doors unlocked. Not unlocked. Well, I mean, like from where I am, or where I'm from, I should say, up in northern Ontario. Yeah, you could leave your doors unlocked. You still could get a break-in. And you just made it easier for them, but, I mean, and in my home territory, yeah, we just leave the doors locked on all the time. Because usually just kind of just give a quick knock and just walk into somebody's home, and say, hey, how's it going? So people just left their doors unlocked, right? In where I am now in Welland, no, we keep our doors locked, but not really, overly fearful of, burglars or anything like that. And it happens. Break and enters happen around here. But it's not something like everybody's, oh, no, I don't know, just people aren't, fearful. And that's really the big difference in culture, right, is the fear. Now, I realized, like, in the South, especially, like, when I was living in Memphis, large gun culture, right? And, like, that was one of the things I found very interesting was, like, I saw this woman jogging down the street. And here she is, and she's just, she's moving, she's comfortable. She doesn't look, and it was kind of like where I was staying at the time in Memphis was like, not the best neighborhood, but it wasn't, really great either. Like, and yeah, she seemed fine. She didn't seem too concerned about, her safety because as she's jogging down the street, she had a big old sidearm strapped to her leg. So, and I know anybody who, stopped her and started to give her any kind of a problem, I'm sure she was going to pull that thing out and, and plug him with it, right? So, but different culture. I mean, also too, I mean, like, Canada is not as populous as America is either. America has 10 times the people that Canada does. It's only 35 million in Canada compared to 350 million in the America, right? So, grim. Never a dull moment, I suppose. I just watch cars almost ram each other by, including one that almost hit my bro's car. He was not amused, but his car didn't get hit. Grim indeed. He has it on video, though, thanks to his dash cam. Wow. Yeah, we get lots of accidents around here. In this area is notorious for bad drivers. The Niagara Falls area, yeah, it's notorious bad drivers, and I believe it. I mean, I thought drivers up in Sault Ste. Marie were bad, but no, around here they're pretty damn bad. Everybody's just flying at Mach 1 in like 50. Like I was outside just yesterday, and somebody just down the street from me. There's like a little crescent off my street here, and I could hear them just like screeching. And like right now, it was actually a pretty nice day yesterday. So, and there's no snow, but we have like a lot of dirt on the roads because of the salting and the sanding and stuff like that for winter conditions, and that it's dry, right? But I could hear that just moving under the car's tires as he's pulling up, and then he's driving past the street, and he had to have been going like damn near 70 kilometers down the street, damn near 80 probably, because he was just gunning it. And then I could hear him when he got onto the main street. I could hear his tires squealing as he was driving away. I'm like, I hope somebody was dying, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, because hopefully he's just not a jerk and just drives like a maniac. Like, and hopefully this person, isn't a regular person on my street. Like, because goddamn, I realize that makes me sound like a really old person complaining about people's driving, but holy cripes. I sanded this down. I went really far because I'm debating whether or not I want to take the blade to this right now or what. Because on the last foot, I got that on the red here. I got that edge. I nicked it with the sander, whereas this time I have not done that yet. Arg. Screw it. Let's do it. Let's do it. No balls, right? No balls. Actually, shit. Oh, I just bladed that. Frick. Where's this? The rough one. Here, there we go. I just nicked that. Now, hopefully, that's not too bad. Pay attention to what you're doing, people. Pay attention to what you're doing. Now then, let's see if I can blade this. Yeah, see, it's pretty heavy. It's a good, like, 0.5 millimeter. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking with these tiny little surfaces, it's a lot. So I'm just going to try and shave some of it right now before I actually get to the kind of scraping of it. And I think I laid it on kind of heavily on this one side. Why, I don't know. The one thing I want to be careful of is not to gouge the plastic, which I could very well do, which I'm trying to avoid. Oh, man. That's great. I'm going to sand it. Actually, no, let's do it with the small sanding sticks first. Just so we can stay more controlled in this area as we get closer to these other details. This one's a really coarse side, so should pull off lots of material. So we just can be very careful as we're pulling this material off. Trying to just apply just pressure on top of the putty. You guys can kind of see that. Still see that big wad there. Yeah, I know this is terribly exciting. But it is what it is. And this is the process. And, you know, this has been more like a vlogging experience of doing this model. That better not. There's a little line there. That better not haunt me as I get further into this and remove this crap. And there's this little chunk down here. Yeah, that's gone now. There. Happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, man, I need frickin' tunes in here. Some tunage. Oh, we're getting to the plastic. Sweet. Kind of see there. We're almost there. Right in the seam line there, I can see we're starting to hit some of the plastic here. So we're almost there. It's like a road trip. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? We'll get there when we get there. If you ever wondered what a road trip with me was like, that was a brief look. Anybody who was wondering. So I wonder what Chris is like on a road trip. Yeah, I'll lose my shit really early. Really early on, I'll just lose my shit. there yet. You know what? I think we can probably blade this now. Looks like a wad of gum stuck to the front. Fire Jerky Teen, are you going to repaint it? Repaint what? The Gundam? Yeah, I'm going to paint this guy. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about something with Grimm? I don't know. Fire Jerky Teen, I said I would put together one Gundam or gunpla model. I have no idea how to begin or if you even need glue. Honestly, with these Bandai kits, no, you don't need glue. You can just slap these guys together and bang, be done. And they mold them in colored plastics, so you can just slap it together. Like, well, you've seen this Gundam in pictures before, and like he wasn't even glued. This head right now, I just glued it in the previous episodes, and I only glued it on this seam line. But this part here, like all this colored bits on, you can see on him. See that little yellow, his eyes, the red bits. You can see little black outline to his eyes and in the vents. That's all different colored plastic. And so all this was just simply putting the parts together, and then everything was just like two pieces. Which, I mean, Bandai make really great kits. Like, I love the Star Wars kits, and so I was like, okay, well, I love the Star Wars kits. I'll definitely give a Gundam a try. And people have always recommended doing a Gundam. And I was always very curious because I do like anime and I do like all sorts of stuff. And yeah, I said, okay, fine, I'll give it a shot. So this is finally my foray into doing this. Is it going to be awesome the first time out? Probably not. Again, I may fail at this, and that's okay, right? Because as long as we're learning. Now, mind you, I mean, like, this is not too dissimilar from, the usual kind of model kits. And because I have already worked with some Bandai kits, but I mean, like, modeling is kind of just modeling, right? I mean, it's not, this shit ain't rocket science. So, no fear, no balls. I'm just trying to get the blade on most of the surface here so I can blade the entire thing at once. Yeah, see, now if I was working with the slurry, it probably would not have taken me this long to just sand that seam line down. Because, I mean, like, it worked really well here. Saw how fast I accomplished that, right? Whereas this front toe part here has been taking frickin' forever. And then I still get this back. But this back piece was all right to do last time on the other foot, right? And I mean, like, but I mean, like, the payoff is really good because, like, like, look how nice and uniform that is, right? It all looks good. And this is going to look fantastic when we start slapping some paint on it. But holy cramoles, Yeah, you can see how it's kind of just lifting off. But I'm not too concerned with it on these big faces. It's the seam line that I was concerned with. Let's see, we just pull it right off. Just like that. Pull that off. Now it gets, I kind of clench up when I start to get right near the seam line here as I'm pulling these edges off. Because I don't want to inadvertently pull any of the material that I have filling the gap, right? Just like I almost just did right there, frick. It's actually kind of thick right here near the toe. So I'm going to bleed that. Just pull that big chunk right off. Where's my toothbrush? Yeah, so you can kind of see now. See, we're getting somewhere now. We just got just the material in that seam line. So now we can get back to the sander. This one. I didn't even know which sander I had. Fire Dricatine, smooth as a baby's bottom. Tell you what. Hail Bob, heyo, heyo, Hail Bob. Welcome. Time win. 1:30. Well, I've been streaming for 1:30. It's 1:30 and I've been streaming right because I started this at 12. I totally had a moment there. I was like, wow, it's 1:30? It's 1:30. But I've been streaming for 1:30. Right. Some of you probably just completely lost confidence in me, right? They're like, good God, man, the guy can't even tell time and how long he's been streaming for. Come on, man. Anyway. Just try to take this right down to that seam line. Just try to keep pressure, but trying to stay somewhat uniform as I work the file back and forth, or file, the sander. Let's try to get some of this material up here too. That area still got some nice grit to it. Try and grab some of this material. Yeah, that's coming right off there. Perfect. Whenever I get really into the sanding process, it just always reminds me of, what I miss working with wood. A little bit of schmutz here. There we go. Gone. Let's blade that back a bit. I probably don't have to be this nitpicky, as I've mentioned 100 times already, but once you're in, right? You're in. In for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. Yeah, see there, that seam line is just all but gone away. It's still a little messy up here, but we'll get to that in a sec. Hail Bop, I'm kind of excited for PP's new game. That new Warcaster one. Yeah, it looks kind of interesting. I'm not crazy with the models, but War Machine had that same problem with me early on as well. I wasn't excited about War Machine back in the day, just because of the sculpts. I just didn't really care for the Warjacks. But yeah, I mean, if the gameplay's there, I mean, like realistically, that's the only reason why anybody plays these games, right? Is the gameplay, and the gameplay has to be there. If the gameplay is not there, but it's got really kick-ass models, doesn't matter. Sure, it's got really kick-ass models that might appeal to, people who are on the painting side of the hobby, but otherwise, it's not going to last long, right? So the gameplay always has to be there. Always. Otherwise, what is the friggin' point? Sorry, I'm just getting into this little nook and cranny over here. Nice and uniform as possible, if I can. And then let's see if we can get this part right here. This one right here as well. Yeah. Clean up some of this excess material. X-mess. Can't even talk anymore. Not too bad at all. Hellbop. It's like Monpok rules wise. Monpok. Monster Apocalypse? I've never played that one either. When the War Machine community died in this area, yeah, I stopped playing Privateer Press games. That was a while ago. It's at least, what, 5 years ago, maybe? Fire Drag 18. That band is pretty cool. Trap metal, it is then. Just like Deliverance, get into those crannies and get a little kit bashed. Yeah, we're going to get kit bashed. You guys, too much. Excuse me. Sorry for anybody who had headphones on. I'm wearing all black today too, and I'm playing with this dust. I'm gonna look like Tony Montana at the end of Scarface. Say hello to my little friend. See if we can get this little facet right here. Yeah, we can. Yeah, baby. Shake it, baby. Anybody who ever played Duke Nukem? Work it, baby, work it. And I think we can call this face done. Gotta grab him a brush. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but that is a filled sand and cleaned seam line. Again, once you throw a primer on that, you got something sweeter than you. Anybody can tell me what movie that's from. You put that in a bottle, you got something sweeter than you. And don't Google it either. I mean, you got to know from memory. Hailbop. Yeah, you bring 15 units and you have the portals and then generate spawn tokens and then spend those tokens to bring on units, and the units die, go back to the summon pool. Doesn't use traditional point system to build armies. Interesting. Yeah, like the recycling of troops kind of mechanic sounds kind of interesting. Well, I mean, like I said, it's like we were talking about the board games and stuff like that. I mean, if the rules are there and it's an interesting, and the game works well and it's got good gameplay, there's no reason why it couldn't take off, right? So, Fire Drag 18, just an idea. Maybe you and Ash can play Dune when the movie is released. Oh, it would take more than Ash and I just to play Dune, like play a good game. From what I understand, it takes a six player game. Just pulling off a lot of this material here. That one went pretty fast. Just a little bit there. Let's see. Just a little bit up in the upper high point here. So, I can't even tell which sanding sticks I'm using. Anyway, switch to a finer grit. That's pretty. A little bit still too high up here. You know what? Let's blade that first. Let's pull that material right out of there. Let's come out of this way here. Oh, excuse me. let's do this face right here. Yeah, that looks good. Where am I? Hail Bop. Reusing those resin blocks that Forge World kits come with as iron ingots, and the bigger ones as little barriers. Yeah, they look like little barriers. Definitely. I, for a long time, held on to a bag of those extra things, and unfortunately, I think when Forge World is calculating how much to charge for the kits, I think that's why, because they're charging by weight, right? At least I mean, I would assume when they're factoring in the cost of is how much resin they're using, and those big channels are just huge often on some of those kits, right? And they don't cut them off, and so they're putting into the bags of your model, and you know they're calculating how much of resin they used, so they're calculating the weight, and you're paying for that extra bit of resin, which can probably, I would factor, damn near a quarter, maybe not a quarter, maybe about an eighth of your cost is that extra resin, right? Which is kind of a pain in the ass because you're paying for it, but you don't use it, and you don't need it. And so, you know, it's kind of one of those, you know, you kind of wish they'd get a little bit more efficient on their end as far as how much resin they're using, so that, you know, obviously you don't have to get charged that amount, because obviously, you know, the consumer is paying for that extra bit of resin, right? Even though you're never going to use it, unless of course you, I don't know, chop it up and utilize it somehow. But anyway, yeah, because I've bought in a lot of Forge World kits. All my Forge World models that I have in my collection, they're all legit Forge World. I never went to any recasters for any of my stuff. Yeah, I wish I had something that was better at cleaning this into this little space so I can just blade that. As I mentioned earlier about my little trick for, you know, knocking the ends off these blades, I don't recommend it, but I want to get in there properly. The last one I did wasn't too bad, but this one is, I don't know, it's annoying me. It's triggering me. All right, good enough. I'm not gonna fret that side. All right, I gotta still do all this shit. Timing out here, 15 minutes. Where am I? Hail Bop, I paid for it and may as well use it for scatter terrain. Yeah, exactly, right? Especially with little things like the weapons and head sprues, Forge will make those gates way more. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, there's probably, for those little bits, because I've seen it with the Horse Heresy kits, right? With the extra heads and everything. And yeah, like there's a lot of wasted resin, and you're paying for that extra bit. That's I'm sure that's how they work that cost out. Right? So, I mean, if you're paying for it, then, they should be a little bit more efficient in how they are, creating those channels so they can pour that resin in. Because it seems like a waste. It seems like it. I don't know. Maybe that is the best way to do it. I have no idea, but it doesn't seem like it. Cut this a little close to the plastic, and there's a little nub there, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm kind of just done screwing around with these feet. Do 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 do. Fire routine. I want to get in there. That's what she said. I shouldn't take my thoughts. No, probably not. But then again, a lot of times I just end up saying what I'm thinking, right? So, and that's gotten me into trouble once or twice. Well, more than once or twice. But you know what, man? I have a low tolerance for stupid shit. And man, the craziness of this world that we're in right now, at least it seems like it's crazy. You could argue it's not. It's been the same through the ages, but it seems like we're in a situation in this world, this environment, this culture that we're in, because we've tolerated stupid shit being said. And, of course, society should become more tolerant of others and other cultures and other language, and, and other beliefs. And, we should be more tolerant. But holy shit, when people say stupid things, I'm afraid I have a low tolerance for that. I just that's some stupid shit you're saying. You stop, And so where do we draw the line, right? I mean, it's really a hard one, It's like, because when somebody believes in something that's really obviously batshit crazy, do you sit there and go, well, hey, buddy, you're believing in something that's pretty batshit crazy, and anyway. Or do you just let them believe they're batshit crazy things? Live and let live, as it were, right? And that seems to be the more tolerant approach, right? It's just kind of, live and let live. Trying to make sure that this little shape here is kind of a dome shape, and so I'm just trying to make sure that I get that, I come at it from different angles so that I don't plane off kind of a flat end. Make sure I maintain that curvature. The what is it? Convex. It's a convex surface, because concave is inward, convex is outward. Don't mind me, boys. Just scrubbing my undies. So there's this little point here in this face. It got me last time. You can kind of see how, like, from this detail here, and there's like this little line that runs right toward the middle, right to the seam line. And that kind of messed with me last time, so I'm not going to let it mess with me this time. I'm going to blade it right off. No screwing around, I'm just going to blade it right off. But it looks like it should be a freaking detail, but arg. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I have no idea if that's a proper panel line, but it's coming off. Where am I? Hail Bop! Eisenhorn was just delivered to my house. Cool. Fire Drag 18. I work in customer service talking to people all over the United States. You have realized only people can change themselves, not you. No, you can change people. Because, yeah, you can totally change people. The hard part is to change them that they don't realize that they're being changed. That's the hard part. That's the challenge. Social engineering, I believe, is what that term is called. But the tricky part is to do it. People don't realize that it's happening. Because in that way, they won't resist it. Because people, when something new is around, people resist it automatically. It's a defense mechanism. The little monkey part of your brain goes, oh, this is new. Might be dangerous. Get rid of it. Kill it. Smash it. You know? And so, yeah. That's all it is. Fire Drigantine, Flight to the Eisenhorn. I think I read that. Yeah. The first book? Yeah. Fire Drigantine. That's true, Chris. Don't be sheeple. Exactly, man. Exactly, right? Gotta think for yourself. And often thinking for yourself requires effort. It does. It requires effort, right? It's not easy to think for yourself. Otherwise, everyone would do it. Right? Again, these problems that the world is in, it's because, people want the easy thing. And some people do want to just be led like sheep. They're happy with that. Personally, I wouldn't be happy with that. I think because I believe in personal freedom too much. Too much. I believe in freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of opinion. Freedom to choose our own path in this world. Some people want to infringe upon that. And that's unfortunate. We gotta sand that little spot there. I was hit between the sanding sticks. There's sand on that side, sand on that side, and I was trying to sand with basically the foam board. Oh, getting tired. What time are we at here? Holy cramoles, we're only 6 minutes left of our allotted 2-hour slot. Get in there. Deep like. Coming at it from every angle here just to maintain that curvature. Ooh, that's nice. Sometimes you see how nice and smooth that looks, and you're like, ooh, I want to touch it. It's smooth. What's this side? Yeah, I can see that. Oh, excuse me. Burping. Burping. Fire Drake 18. Didn't plan to stay this long. I think that sanding is sanding ASMR. It is. I think it is. I think that's the only reason people are tuning in for this BS, because it's kind of relaxing. Just, oh, the sound of sanding, the sound of I was gonna say work, but this isn't work. Anyway. How did I get that? Did I get the nubs on this? Oh, I got the nubs on this side pretty good. Although I do have to blade that right there. It's this edge here. It's annoying me. Yeah, there we go. It's gone. It runs the entire foot. It's this little edge. There. Pretty as a picture. Go all the way around. Yeah, it does too. Son of a bitch. Oh, see, I did it there because I could see. Yeah, I did blade this at one point. At some point. Yeah, it's kind of rough there in the front too. What the hell's going on here? Alright. That is two little feeties. Done. For dancing. Alright. Feet are done. As done as I want them. Next, we'll be working on the shins. Or unless I get ambitious and I do it off camera. And so the shins. There's really not too much to do on the shins. As you can see here, just below the knee is a seam line here. But here, there's a seam line that runs this entire length all the way across the back curvature of the calf. And this space in here is going to be a pain. But the seam line, yeah, because I ran the glue and then squeezed it, and so it shouldn't be too bad to get rid of that seam line. It's not like we should putty it or anything. This leg here, same thing. Let's see the little seam line. Like here on the knee, this was a single piece, and it just snapped right in. In fact, I bet you I could pull this off. Yeah, I could pull this off. Maybe I should glue it. Maybe I should. I probably should, because then I'll be painting it, and then the frickin' knee pops off or something, right? But anyway, yeah, so I'll start working on that soon enough. That'll be the lower portions of the legs, and then it'll be onto, I guess maybe we could work our way up the model, right? Start the feet. I already did the head kind of, right? Do the legs. And that way we can actually maybe start priming and getting to some actual pieces here. Although when I get to the painting portion, I want to, do everything kind of at the same time. Like when I prime it, I want to prime all the parts. When I base, I want to base all the parts. And because I think the route I'm going to take with this model, I'm thinking that I may prime the entirety of it in gloss black because of the metallic I'm going to use. Because I'm going to use metallics on it. And I think I am going to, do everything. But I might mask out like the eyes, like details like the eyes. I might mask those so when I prime it, those don't get affected. Yeah. Definitely. All these little steps I gotta think of. All these little things. But anyway, what time am I at? Holy Carmelis, we're over 2 hours. Any last comments here? Fire Jerky Teen, I have a new favorite anime, Kuno Samba, that's just released season 2 in English. It's kind of lewd and extremely hilarious. Fire Jerky Teen, what color scheme are you going to paint it? I think I'm going to paint it in its traditional color scheme here. White, red, blue, yellows. But for the red, blue, and yellow, I think what I will do is do those in colored metallics. And I'm going to leave the white sections opaque white. But I'm going to do those with a bit of depth. So there'll be like a little bit of shadowing, or probably paint it. I might paint it in the normal fashion in which a lot of people paint Gundams, which is shadowing the seam lines, like where the panel lines are, and then, hitting the flatter areas with, the opaque colors. But yeah, I think that's the route I'm going to go. So yeah, there will be a lot of masking. And these gray bits, these connectors, I'm thinking I might just hit them with just the metallic and leave them as the plain metallic. Or maybe I'll deepen them up. I don't know. But yeah, so like the feet here, they're going to get metallic red, right? The blue be metallic blue, yellow will be metallic yellow. Not so much gold, it'll be yellow. Yeah, because I have a clear yellow. I have the Tamiya clear yellow somewhere. But yeah, and I'll most likely be doing it in the Tamiyas, because I'm going to lay down, spoiler, I'm going to lay down chrome on the entire model. And in fact, these metal bits here, like these connectors, they'll get chromed, but maybe what I'll do is do an oil wash and do, bit of oil, wipe it off so that there's black in the recesses and such. But a bit like this, I probably don't have to prime in gloss black. I could probably leave this in probably primed white and then start laying down the color on it. Again, all these things I have to consider, right? Because this head was already glued together, so I can't pull this apart. So if I want to preserve the glass of the eyes, because it's a white bit of plastic in behind yellow plastic. That's what makes those eyes like here. Let's focus in a bit here. In these last couple seconds as we're talking strategy here. Or no, it's first camera. All right. Yeah. And then we will change the focus. And so you can see. Yeah, you can see it's clear yellow plastic, but there's white in behind it, which gives it that little bit of glow, right? You can see the seam line there. We had that seam line running along there, right? Yeah, it's pretty. Look how nice and smooth that is. It's smooth. So anyway, yeah. I should just have a talking head. I seen this one guy I follow on YouTube. His channel Odin Makes, and he makes a the RX-78 helmet as a helmet to fit on a person, right, for cosplay. He's doing like a Gundam cosplay, and I was like, the helmet would be fun to make. So I've been thinking about possibly doing something like that because I'm still sitting on a bunch of EVA foam that I would like to do something, and I would like to either do like a Space Marine helmet, or I was even thinking of looking up for like maybe doing like an Eldar helmet. I was also thinking of doing the Mandalorian, maybe even a Gundam, all different directions, or maybe I'll just make all the helmets. I just have a collection of helmets going on. That's also a possibility as well. Who knows what kind of crazy crap I'll get into. Fire Trigger 18, that's going to look hot. I can see it. I can see it too. I think with the opaque white, with the colored metallics, because it'll be a backing of chrome, it'll be pretty bright. And so I think the entire model will still have that kind of anime vibe to it, which I'm thinking that I want to do. I don't want to push shadows too far down, because I think that will just, I think once I'm all done with the kit, because I do want to have the white maintain this level of white. Like like the panel lines and stuff like that, they'll get pushed down a bit, and I don't think I'll do like an oil wash where I'll just like black the lines. Although I could paint it white, seal it, and do a panel lining of like a light blue gray. Just create an oil wash of that. And just hit this. Yeah, you see there's a gap or a seam opening here? Well, you probably can't see that, but yeah, I think I'm going to have to glue these parts together. This knee into this shin. I'm going to probably have to hit it with some glue. Yeah, I'll probably have to do that. So, anywho, that's it for today, I think. Fire Trigger 18, I've seen where that basically run black ink into the seams. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use inks. I'll probably use oil paints, just because with oil paints I like it better, because you can basically get right in there. If you make a boo-boo, it's wipe it off and you have plenty of drying time. I also have some oil paint liners. I have some oil paint liners as well, but I don't know if I'll use those. It all depends. I guess it really all depends on how I'm feeling. Because there's some areas, like for example, there's some areas on this model that, like right into into these knee joints, and there's all sorts of nice little details. I'd like to bring attention to those details. I mean, you guys can't see them very well because of the white balance, but actually, can I pull it back out? Can we do it? Let's see here. Let's go back. Yes, drop exposure. Changez-vous the focus. Yeah, you can see the little rivets, right? Let's see all that. So there's lots of detail in there. Even the front panels. You know what I mean? So doing it like it's just an oil wash, and then I can just pull it off real fast and, be done with it, right? There we go. Ah, it's too much. It's too bright. That's better. Whatever. We're almost done anyway. I'm going to switch cameras. There we go. Alrighty. So, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I've been trying to do this stream on Fridays on Twitch, usually at 12, although I leave it open on Fridays because I might be doing it in the afternoon, I might do it in the evening. Either way, I've been trying to do this regular kind of Twitch stream on a regular kind of basis. So, if you want to tune in live, I'm on Twitch. Otherwise, I've been posting this almost like a week later on YouTube. So after you've seen this, if you're watching this on YouTube, like this was like a week ago. So this is old news. Like the project could have went further. I might have even started posting it on Instagram. So if you want to stay current what I'm doing here on this show, tune in on Fridays on Twitch. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, and share the video. And thanks for tuning in, and all that other usual BS. All right, I'll see you guys later. Well, today's Friday, so I'll see you guys tomorrow on Way of the Brush. Just like the little guy right there in the corner. Where is he? Right there. Over there. Right there. Right there. All right, I'm out of here. Go do something. Be productive. Get some models done. Get some more projects done. Or do something. I don't know. I didn't turn this off. I'm trying to click a button here.